Hey guys, it's Beth, and today I'm back with the card share portion from my Carta Bella Our Family collection kits that I have been working on killing off. And if you remember from my preview video, I had the bits and pieces from two collections that I was kind of rolling into one to kill it off all together. I do want to start by apologizing for the sound quality on my last couple of videos. Apparently my lavalier mic that I wear hasn't been working and I'm trying to use the boom mic on my camera, so I feel like it's picking up my voice better, but it's not as clear and crisp as the lavalier mic is, and there's also some background noise that you're going to hear, so please bear with me. And also bear with my voice. I am coming off of strep throat and my voice is still a little iffy, so it may come and go and be a little raspy. But I really wanted to share this with you guys because kind of finish up this collection that I've been working on killing off and get these projects out to you. So with that being said, if you remember also from my preview, I didn't have a whole lot of the pattern paper left, but I had tons of the embellishments, you know, the journal cards, the stickers, and then I ended up getting a punch-out sheet from my last Echo Park warehouse box sale. So I had lots of embellishments to use and not a whole lot of paper to use with it. So I had to kind of be creative on, you know, using the pattern paper, and then I brought in a lot of cardstock, and then I ended up making a few pieces of my own pattern paper. And before I made my scrapbook pages, I tried to set aside all of the cut aparts and cut out any of the sayings. There was one sheet of pattern paper that had like a bunch of family sayings on it. I tried to cut out the ones that had mother and father in them and pull aside all of the journal cards that had mother, father in them, kind of earmark the stickers and the punch outs that I knew I wanted to use in the cards, so that I knew that I wouldn't touch those and could use those for this part. So the ones I started with, I got 4 5x7 greeting cards because there were 4 4x6 cut apart cards, and there were like 2 for mom, 2 of the same ones for mom, and then 2 for dad. And so I got 4 of these bigger cards, and I just kept them simple. There's solid cardstock as the mat behind them, just so they would kind of have a little solid color frame. And then I didn't want to add a whole lot of embellishment to these just because there was already a lot going on with the flowers and the saying. I didn't want to take away from that. So what I ended up doing is coming in with my clear Wink of Stella and just adding some glitter. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but adding some glitter to all of the red flowers. So it was just a way to add some detail and a little bit of pizzazz to the card without actually adding more layers of embellishments. So I did those 2 the same way. And then this one for father, I just took glossy accents and went over the little hat down here just to give it, you know, some dimension, and then also a little more fun detail. So I thought that one kind of looked cute. So they're just kind of very simple and clean, but there is a little pizzazz in them with the glitter and the glossy accents. So next I went to the A2 size cards, and I ended up getting 24 of those. And if you are new to card making, A2 is kind of one of the most standard sizes that handmade card makers use, and it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card base size. And I love to use sketches when I'm killing off a kit because it makes the process go so much easier. So the first sketch that I started with in this case was Freshly Made Sketches, number 173. And I pulled this one out because I was wanting to find a way to use this dad punch out. And so to get my stripe over here, this is actually a border strip cut apart. And then I just paired it with some navy cardstock. And then the only other aqua pattern that I had left was kind of like this flowy or swirly leafy pattern. So I was hoping that by pairing it with the navy pieces that it wouldn't look feminine, that it would, you know, just kind of go with like the manly feel of the card. And there is a little bit of swirl. I don't know if you can see the detail in this navy punch out right here, but there is a little bit of swirl detail in there too. So I felt it kind of worked well together. And then in order to break up some of the navy back here on the background, I just added 3 little cardstock punch circles down here at the bottom. So I did another version of this. This time I used a father sticker from the sticker sheet and then just put it on kind of like a tannish cardstock piece that I cut into a fishtail. And then it is layered on, it's the back of a 3x4 journal card. I just turned it over and used the pattern side instead of like the journal card side. And then I have 2 strips here, just a solid black strip and this pattern strip with like, it's got letters and numbers and on it. And I used 2 different strips because it wasn't very wide. I didn't feel like it was wide enough just using one. So I doubled them up. And then this little clock or timepiece is also a sticker from the sticker sheet. And I got 2 of those. And this is pretty much the same card, except for this time I used the grandfather sticker. And this globe is actually a stamp from this Tim Holtz stamp set. And it's called Little Things. And I loved this. I got this set, well, 1, because it was on clearance, but 2, I loved the vintage images on it and the fact that it had some masculine images. I don't have a lot of masculine image stamps. Most of mine are feminine, you know, wine or flowers or, you know, fun feminine type images. So I kind of needed that for my stash anyway, so that was a happy find for me. So anyway, I stamped the globe on some of the tan cardstock that matched what my fishtail was up here, and just used that as the element down here at the bottom of again, turned a journaling card over and used the back side. And this is the bottom half of the strip I used on the father card, and again paired it with a black strip, and just reversed the order. So this time the pattern strip was on the outside so you could actually see it, and then the black strip was on the inside. And I also added 3 little hole punch circles down here from that tan cardstock, just to, I don't know, I always like adding those little things to dress up the plain background a little bit. Got 2 of those as well, so I got 5 of that card sketch. The next sketch I used was Mojo Monday number 361. And I used, this was a saying that I had cut out of one of the patterned sheets of paper, and then I backed it on green cardstock just to kind of pull from the leaves there. And then I had a lot of this black patterned paper, and so I just used that as the other square. And then I pulled in 2 little scraps of the green cardstock over here just to bring some color and to pull that green across. And most of my cards are on an off-white card base, but this time I actually used a tan because I was trying to pull in like some of this got like an aged detail here on the saying, and so I was trying to kind of coordinate with the aging there. So here's another version for Mother's Day, and again it used that black pattern, and this pattern here is actually one I made myself. I got this background stamp from also from the last Echo Park warehouse box that I got, and it was from the Our Family line, so I decided to use this to help make some additional pattern paper. So when I was kind of running out of pattern paper for my cards and on my scrapbook pages, I ended up stamping this on just some solid color cardstock to kind of give me another patterned paper option to work with. And I used my Misty stamping tool with that so that I could stamp it multiple times and get a more of a crisper, cleaner image. So I just stamped it. It was like an off-white tannish ink that I used, and put it on some cream cardstock just kind of for a neutral pattern. And then I have a branding strip that's going across the width of the card here, and then this Happy Mother's Day sentiment I just printed out for my silhouette, and then have it on a scallop circle that matches the cardstock from my card mat. Next up is Operation Right Home sketch number 93. And I wanted to use this one because I wanted to use this journal card. This was one of the few 3x4 journal cards that actually had a mother or father saying on it. And so I wanted to find a way to showcase that, you know, in its entirety on the card. And so on this one, I just used some more of that swirly leaf aqua pattern to tie in with the aqua border around the journal card. And then for the back piece here, the black, I actually took another journal card and turned it, you know, so that the black pattern, the pattern side was showing, and just used that to kind of highlight and matte the journal card message here. And then I didn't have a whole lot of room down here without covering up this message, so I just used a little tiny piece of black cardstock as my little strip down here to follow the sketch. Next is Sweet Sunday sketch number 237. And this mother's sentiment was a saying that was on the patterned paper with all the sayings, and so I just cut it out and matted it on some, like, I did a thin mat of black cardstock just to help it pop off of the strips back here. And I had a bunch of strip scraps in this collection for some reason, and so I was trying to use those up. And so I just used a solid green cardstock just to pull from the green and all the leaves and help the yellow and the cream kind of stand out. And then I don't know if you can see, but I did use some more clear Wink of Stella on the yellow flowers down here. And then this yellow flower was actually fussy cut from the cover sheet that came in the collections with the collection. And then these little trios of yellow flowers were stickers from the sticker sheet. And I used Wink of Stella on them as well. This one's done the same way, except for this thinking of you. And the flowers I had actually had stamped and in. I keep a stash of sentiments on my desk so that if I'm just trying to use up some scraps and make some quick cards, that I can just pull from some sentiments that I already have. And so this was in there, and I pulled it out because it had kind of that cream background and then red. And so I had been looking for something to tie in with this pattern that the strips are. And so then I just matted it on like a tan cardstock so that it would stand out and not blend in with the other cream colors. And then these are 3 strips from the same pattern, but they're like 2 wide and then the 1 thin. So I just did the 2 wide on the outside and 1 thin in the middle. And then up here I have 3 little flower stickers and a little leaf sticker from the sticker sheets. There were tons of those, so I was trying hard to use all those little guys up. This is Sweet Sunday sketch number 220. And this one is kind of very simple. I just chose red cardstock because I felt it popped off that black pattern really well, and then did another globe stamp from that Tim Holtz stamp set. And this time I wanted like a wider Father's Day sentiment, and I didn't have a stamp that was, you know, that big, and so I typed in Happy Father's Day into my silhouette and then printed that out to use as my sentiment. Operation Right Home sketch number 146. And again, using that black pattern with a pop of red. And this time I used a frame punch out. So in the punch out sheet, there were a couple of frames and they had a saying in the middle. And so you could use them together as one piece, or you could punch them separately and use them, you know, as separate pieces. So in this case, I had actually used the saying on one of my scrapbook pages and then saved the frame to use for one of my cards. And again, just found an image in my silhouette that said "Best Dad Ever" with the mustache, and so I put that behind my frame. And this one, I always seem to find like a gem from the collection like at the very end. So like I had used up most of the paper in the collection and was down to the little bitty scraps, and then I happened to unbury this butterfly piece that was like almost perfect card mat size. So I just went ahead and made that the card mat, and then used another branding strip. Like this navy pattern is another branding strip that goes across to anchor my sentiment up here. And then I had a butterfly sticker that I was trying to use, and so I just put it down here on a little red cardstock fishtail. Here I was trying to use up some more of the strips that I had left. You've seen me do this before. Normally, if I find strips that are similar in width, then I will just cut them down to the same length, and then, you know, use them as kind of like my focal element. This time I had some that they were close to the same width, but it was like a graduating difference. So as you can see, like it starts thinner and it gets a little bit wider as it comes down. So I decided to try something different and just leave them like the widths that they were. Because I thought, like when you think of the ombre effect, it's kind of a gradual transition. This is just a gradual transition from thinner to wider. And then my red cardstock, I actually ran through my Big Shot and it used this Doris embossing folder, and it's got kind of a quilted pattern, and that's what it reminds me is of like a quilted pattern to it. And so I just used that as my background, and then again trying to use up some of those little flower stickers. I just treated them like you would enamel dots or sequins, kind of scattered them around. And then the sentiment was one from my silhouette. So here I was trying to use up all the little thin strips that I had. I just took a piece of cardstock that I had on my desk, cut it down so that it would fit my card base, and then just totally covered it with my ATG glue and then started laying strips across at an angle. I didn't care about the width. I would just try and make sure it was wide enough to go all the way across wherever it was on the card, and then trimmed all the edges off so that it was even, and then attached that to my card base. And then here I had 2 more flower stickers that I wanted to use up, so I printed out a wider version of that Mother's Day sentiment from my silhouette and left more space instead of just, punching it out in a circle, and used those 2 flower stickers. On these 2, I used this collage cover-up die from My Favorite Things. And it cuts the frame and all of the little squares. And so I cut the frame out of that tan colored cardstock just to stand out from my off-white card base. And then I had enough of this aqua pattern to do 1 full card of the aqua squares. And then down here I just used a sticker that I had left on the sticker sheet and then stamped hello. Actually left the tan piece here inside the frame and then stamped hello directly onto that. And that is from this stamp set, which is Ms. Sparkle and Company. And I believe it doesn't have like a name of the stamp set, but I found it on clearance, I believe, from Joann's. And then this is the same thing, but I was able to get 3 black, so I kind of did the 2 aqua on the outside and then the black kind of in the center, and then put a black strip in here this time. Pulled another sticker from the sticker sheet and then stamped, or actually I think I printed that Happy Mother's Day from my silhouette as well. And I'm bummed because I put score tape, like really wide score tape, across the back of my frame, and then lay my pieces in my squares so that it makes it easier to handle. And I think it was when I was pulling the backing off or something, like I got a crease in the frame right here. So I'm kind of bummed about that, but oh well. This is Operation Right Home sketch number 90. And here I'm actually using pieces from the cover sheet. So this is what's left of the cover sheet. And this was just like they had squares across the bottom of like the different embellishment sheets that were in there, the stickers and the different cut aparts. And then the top part was like strips that showed all the different patterns in the collection. So these were 2 small pieces that came off the bottom of each of the cover sheets, and I just grouped them together and covered the gap here with a little black strip and fishtailed it just so it makes it look like one solid piece of strip, paper. And then matted that on some red cardstock, and then again the Happy Mother's Day sentiment from my silhouette. And I know it's the cover sheet, it's not actual pattern paper, but I love how that one came out. I think I love the colors and the patterns in it. And so I got another one of those and did the exact same thing. So I'm kind of happy with how those came out. And again, the rest of these cards are all using the pieces of the cover sheet that I had cut down. So here is Operation Right Home sketch number 236. and I had a kind of thinner but wider portion of those strips from the cover sheet, and then used a sticker left on the sticker sheet, and then backed it with a black cardstock fishtail here, and then down here used 3 little vinyl stickers, vinyl circles, to act as my enamel dots, just to break up some of that cream at the bottom. And this one, there was a mother sticker on the sticker sheet, so I just put that on the center of my cardstock piece, and then used my little scalloped corner punch to give the corners a little scalloped edge, and then felt like it needed something else, and so I went through with my black pen and just added some faux stitching around the edge. And then these flowers are actually fussy cut from the cover sheets as well. This same thing, the sticker, I just put it on green cardstock this time and paired it with some butterfly stickers, and then backed it, the green, with that aqua fishtail strip that I had left. And this one uses the other, like, you know, to the world you are a mother, but to your family you are the world sticker. And I put it on like this turquoise cardstock to help it stand out, but felt like it needed something else to help ground it on all of the strips here. And so these pieces of cardstock, like they were strips of cardstock that were kind of laying right next to me, and I thought, oh, those colors like work well with what's in the background. So I cut them down, cut them into fishtails, and put them on there, and realized it totally looks like the Italian flag. Wasn't my intention, but gives it a little bit of Italian flair to that card, I guess. And then I also got 2 little mini note cards. They're 3x3 size. So this one, I was just trying to finish up those little thin strip scraps that I had. And so I did the same thing, just put them on a smaller piece of cardstock and covered the cardstock with adhesive, and then laid my strips on. And then just put a butterfly sticker on the center of a red scallop circle. And then, I didn't mention this before, but in all my cards, I try to use up whatever scraps I have left after I've made all the cards. I put them on the insides of the cards just to add a little bit of decoration. And then here is some more of the squares that go along with that collage cover-up die. I had 2 left of the aqua, and when I was cutting down scraps, I only ended up with 1 square of the red. So I didn't want to put it in the collage card, because it looked weird with just 1 red and the rest aqua or aqua and black. So I saved them till the end, and then I ended up going back and cutting down a piece of red cardstock in that die as well, just to get another red square to help balance that out. And then just layered it on my piece of card, my little card base here in a grid pattern. And then this leaf is actually this leaf element is fussy cut from the cover sheet, and then a little turquoise flower sticker. And then the strip down here was just a little bitty scrap that I had left. It's like a real thin strip, and then just layered it with, this was a flower that I had punched out of the cover sheet. So I ended up getting a total of 28 cards and 2 mini note cards out of this, along with all those scrapbook pages that you saw. So I was kind of impressed that I got that many cards, considering I didn't have that much full patterned paper to work with, but I had a lot of scraps, I guess, and then a lot of embellishments. So let me know if you had a favorite from any of these cards. I liked this one with just the kind of the puffy hat for the Father's Day card, and then, like I said, I also liked how those ones were, I was using the cover sheet. I like how those came out as well. But hopefully this gives you some more ideas on how to use up this collection or another family collection. I know a lot of you said that you actually have this collection, so hopefully I've given you some ideas on how to use that. And the next video up will be kind of my project wrap up for this collection, and we'll have one more project that I'll kind of share in that wrap up that I haven't shown you guys yet. So, and then that's it. This collection rather, is done, officially done. But if you haven't subscribed already, please do so, and stay tuned for more ideas like this on how to use up those collections or pads or kits that you have in your stash. You know, we're working on trying to get them used up and making pretty things with them so that they can be enjoyed out of your drawers, out of your stash, rather than just being hoarded, because You know we all like to hoard the pretty paper. But as always, thanks for your time today, guys, and I hope you have a crafty rest of your day.